This is Greg Troutwine with Maritime Reporter TV, and we're pleased to be joined today by Tor Svanes, the CEO of NAVTOR, a world leader in the provision of e-navigation solutions. But just to start us off, can you give us a by-the-numbers look at NAVTOR using the metrics of your choice?
In metrics, we are today 93 people around the world. We are 45 people in Norway. And most of the offices around the world is in sales and support. And development is very much here in Norway and in Russia. We also invested in Sweden 5 years ago because we saw that should we be a complete supplier of navigational information, we needed also to have a hand on paper. So we invested in a traditional old chart supplier in Sweden, and that's been going very well.
NAVTOR obviously sits at a very interesting crossroads in maritime right now with the trends of digitalization and the way in which companies are using this to better manage their fleets more efficiently. Can you give us an insight, though, the reality from the bridge? Where are we on this curve of development in companies actually collecting and utilizing this data to better manage their fleets?
Well, first of all, as you mentioned, we are a leader in what we call e-navigation. And we can see now that paper, due to the COVID-19, paper is going out faster than we maybe would have seen otherwise. So the increase of electronic navigation is increasing every day. What we see is that we have a lot of information then. We have in our technology a box on board that is reading the AIS, and that means we have very accurate information in about 130 vessels at every moment. And that information is very good information for other application and for the managers and owners to see what's happening with the vessel.
When you look at the world fleet as a whole, how do you characterize the top challenges being faced by your clients today?
Of course, the regulation on environmental issues is becoming a big burden for the ship owners and operators. Big fines are given to the one who doesn't follow the regulation. And it's a different type of regulation. It's not only the IMO regulation, it's things regulated by the country, even by the ports. So for that reason, in our passage planning, we are now including all the regulation within environmental. And so they can easily see when they make a passage plan in our system that what kind of things they have to be aware of. On the other side, with all the information we have on the track of the vessels, the accurate information we have on speed and direction, etc., every 15 minutes, that is a very good basis to start looking at the gas emissions for each vessels. And that's actually a new era for us in the business because the customer is asking for it.
From where you sit, where are we regarding the melding of maritime culture and the acceptance of this new digitalization change?
Well, it's been taking some time with electronic navigation for sure. I, let's say, sold the first Actis 25 years ago. So it's been taking a long time since I was part of the group setting up the specification for Actis. And actually, only 4 years ago, one captain asked me and said, Tor, why are they pushing this Actis so hard? I say, I don't think they're pushing it hard. This was defined 25 years ago. But as I mentioned, with the COVID-19, the digitalization in maritime is speeding up because of that. And of course, younger people will not go on board a vessel if they have to go back to old traditional navigation. So on top of that, when the managers and owners start asking for all the other information, which they, in the old days, I would say, or still today, was just sending by a noon report every day. That is not enough anymore. They need to give more accurate, detailed information, and they have to do it digitally.
Can you just discuss some of the tools that are being offered to ships crews and fleet managers today from NAVTOR?
So what we have today, where we say we are leading the way, is first of all in the e-navigation, where today we have an ecosystem that not only help the navigators on board, but also communicate with the vessel into the managers or owners of vessels. So with that, we can also take other information. So what we are moving into now is what we call performance, fuel performance, of course, or ship's performance, and weather performance, or if you like, route or trip performance. With this, first of all, we are cooperating with Weather News International in Japan, and we have developed a system together with them. But we will also soon release something called NAVFleet, which then will give the complete overview to the managers on the fleet, how it is performing, where they can compare sister ships, they can see fuel consumption, they can see if they are off track, if they are off charter party, speed, etc. So actually all information collected into one place. And that is the big issue today for the people on board, because there are many people doing fuel performance, many people doing other things regarding to performance, but it's not integrated. It's not integrated into one system, where you also have the e-navigation part of it included.
Okay. So Tor, if I heard you correctly, you said the soon to be introduced NAVFleet, is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Can you give us some insight on where it's at today and when we can expect to see it in the market?
Within this year, I would say it should be available, the first version in the market. At the moment, we are testing and using 12 different shipping companies to give us feedback on the design, the performance of it, how it works, etc.
When you're having discussions with your clients, what are the top 2 or 3 technologies today that you advise can be leveraged?
Well, first of all, it's the matter of communication. How do you move data back and forth to the vessel? That's number one, and that's where we have the what we call the nav box. It's a small PC that we use to communicate with the vessel and exchange information. On the other side is we have the nav station with the so-called passage planner, which have been developed over many, many years. Again, we are doing the same thing with the NAVFleet. We used 15 companies to give us feedback how to do this. They at that time were all using spreadsheets to put in a passage plan. Now they have a complete automated passage plan in the system. And then the next is the new technology that is available with, of course, everything is in the cloud, but with web application where they can have a complete fleet control in the office or wherever they are.
Obviously, we can't have any business discussion without COVID-19. Can you give us insights on how it has materially impacted your company and any silver linings you see coming when the situation is resolved?
Yeah, I would first of all say maybe not surprised, but the fact is that business is running very well. When they closed down Norway in March, I was thinking, okay, that's this year. But actually, since we are having everything operated in the cloud, people could sit at home and do everything themselves. So the effect is that we've been growing in the same pace as we've been doing before. On the other side, we can see that COVID-19 is speeding up the digitalization of in the shipping industry in general.